One, two, three.
Hi.
Sorry for the late submission.
Yeah, sorry. Because things hook up and Ninja is not here to record with us, so we just had to do it without him since the deadline is already up. So basically we did research on Mount Damavand about what you have told us to, and so I will just proceed with the contents and the outlines of everybody's parts. So for myself, I'll be introducing what is the mountain about and the brief explanation. And Zaki is gonna go through with you about what the mountain actually really is through research. And for Fidaus and Rais here, he will go through with you the step by step of like what's it?
How you
Yeah.
build the mountain.
How they construct the mountain in view. Yeah. And also the problems faced. So without further ado, I'll start. So basically Mount Damavand is actually a potentially active volcano or a stratovolcano in that sense. So you didn't also specify when will the film be. We just take it as like it's like now like April. So it's quite to say good weather for now. So and it has an elevation of 5,670 meter and also a prominence of 4,667 meter. Yeah. And it's also the highest peak in Iran and the highest volcano in Asia. So Zaki will tell you more about the mountain itself. So Zaki?
Volcanic mountains and stratovolcanoes are typically conical in shape. Stratovolcanoes are characterized by a steep profile and periodic explosive eruption and quiet eruptions. Stratovolcanoes compose of lava flows and other ejecta in alternate layers. The lavas that flow from stratovolcanoes typically cool and hardens before spreading far due to the high viscosity. It is known as composite volcanoes because they are created from multiple structures during different kinds of eruptions. It is usually made of cinders, ash, and lava. Cinders and ash pile on top of each other. Lava flows on top of the ash, where it cools and then the process repeats. The Mount Damavand goes through the winter season in the months December, January, February, and March, which we assume would be the time period the shoot would take place. During the winter season, the mountain goes through severe winter conditions like heavy snow and excessive wind. And now Firdaus will continue to explain the detail how he.
Okay, so based on the research that my teammate has done, I loaded up View and I started thinking about how I was going to generate this whole terrain. So what I did was, since Zaki mentioned something about a frozen lava, what I did was I tried to make a base snow terrain because the entire mountain is covered in snow. So what I did was I generated a snow terrain and I loaded a function of the frozen lava. And since it is a potentially active mountain, I wanted the loop to fit into the whole Mount Damavand thing. I realized that scaling it won't look good as it stretches the entire plane. So what I did was I duplicated and rotated and stacked layers on top of each other to make it seem more natural. And also I saw that there were smaller hills and mountains within Mount Damavand. So what I did was I used a procedural terrain. I loaded a rock/hills function as a starting point. So I went to function and edited it such that it was based on your screenshot, which was the advanced turbulence and the eroded rocky mountain. So I moved the scale and graph accordingly because the scale controls the frequency of the turbulence. And then I also made the altitude adjustment so that there's only smaller mountains within that layer, so that I can keep stacking and get a more natural look rather than having everything stacked. Have all the mountains within one layer. Also, lastly, I made the main mountain out of procedural terrain with volcanic mountain as a starting point. I removed unnecessary nodes like frequency and amplitude. So what I did was I added advanced turbulence to the wavelength of base position, and that gave the mountain a circular look. So I then adjusted scale to be around 0.9 because I didn't want the mountain to be too sharp, as Mount Damavand isn't that sharp or steep. And then I wouldn't want too many mountains, so what I did was I adjusted the altitude for that one so that there's only like 1 or 2 or 3, and I adjusted only one side of the mountain to be within the camera view. and then I adjusted and positioned all layers and rendered it out. So now Rais will do his
Okay,
part.
in terms of Firdaus mentioning about how he created the mountain in view, I will talk about the climatic conditions of the mountains. So for my part is that I experimented on the climate of it. So for the settings of the clouds, I've chosen the planetary clouds, which I think it compensates with the mountains, as the snowy mountain, uh, from the render itself, it shows that the clouds, the planetary clouds, and also the mountain do really match, and also from the reference itself, it kinds of similar lah, similar looks. So from there, to show more atmospheric look on top of the mountains, I kind of with that settings, and also for the sun, for the setting of the sun, I set it at a geographical location of Mount Damavand at around Iran there at around 9 to 10 a.m. real world timing of position of the sun in the month of November to December. As what Zaki have mentioned earlier, that in Mount Damavand, it's much more look like a mountain when it's during the winter time, as most of the snow are covering the mountain itself, and yes, most of the texture that is on the mountains are snow. So from there, actually Firdaus and me has done quite a different kind of approach. As for his mountain, he's using the stacking method, while I kind of use terrains to like position terrains around to make the mountain look like the actual reference itself. So during the winter season, there won't be any vegetation around. So I thought of experimenting it by using the ecosystem of it and placing um, plum trees, or plum trees, as they are suited for the winter season. And yeah, that's about it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this this what our group has come up with for our research on the group project, and also the problems they encountered, and also what they have done individually in their own parts. So yeah, once again, this is group
31C.
31C. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, 31C.
bye.
Okay, bye.
I don't know what was I talking about.
I don't know what was I talking about, man.
No, stop.
It's
Nah,
not
stop.
running.
Stop.